Yeah, it's been a journey. We've met many years back. Edward's much better with the times and years and so on. But myself and Edward worked for a electrical engineering company. We had a project that we had to do. Edward was actually the master in rolling out a network solution through the country. I see he's thinking, so he's my recording. And then we just managed to click. It's the first time I met Edward. He worked in the Pretoria office. I was in the Nelspruit office. We rolled out the updates quite quickly, and we were still joking and say one day we have to actually start something together because we work so well together. Um, um, but we never really thought of doing something at that moment. And then time went on, and I left the company, worked for a different consultant, and then Edward joined us, and we started a different company. It was basically a starting company that we eventually sold, but that's a different story. And then we started working together.
To fill in the gaps, there was definitely a good part of 20 years that we've been running our own companies. It means Stanley, like you mentioned, we worked together in the consulting engineering company since around the late 1990s. It's quite a while back, and we had really good fun and interesting projects, and there was a lot of energy, a lot of spark, and I think that is exactly that chemistry that evolved into us starting our first company and traveling half of Africa around, and very interesting challenges we had and events. And obviously that created in our first company was called IT Grid, and we were just get going on the company. We Before you wipe your eyes out, I think we were 4.5 years in, and then obviously Bentley, American company, then decided to acquire us, which was also for us new because we were not really ready. We think the company is new. We like what we do, and obviously there was a bigger plan. So we went over to Bentley, and we had some good times with Bentley and interesting projects. Obviously, we saw the world through Bentley, different projects, different countries, and that evolved again to us starting iGlobe in 2010. So and here we are today, 12 of almost 13 years later with iGlobe.
Yeah, it was not intentional, but we were very much in tune on a lot of things. We were traveling a lot, and we started to just see what vehicles work for us, but also what didn't work for us on these long roads that we used to travel to mines in the Northern Cape. So we had discussions of what should work, what should be better. We were talking about vehicles as we drive. It should send you a message when your car's fuel is empty that 50 kilometers from now there should be a shop or a fuel station, and it must just be here on your phone or on your mobile and so on. In those days, the phones were totally not smart. So we were always thinking of these should have been things. I think we are very lucky that we are living in a lot of that right now. And all of our solutions are based on that geospatial location. And even those days, we were saying, if it's not geospatially located, it doesn't exist. You know, if you can't find it, then why should you look for it? You know,
So definitely on the vehicles. I mean, we like things that work. So that's why you normally choose right. And we didn't share girlfriends, so it was just on the cars. So at least that part. We even had the same bikes. So yeah, but like I say, we like things that work. I think one of our mottos, like Stan explained now, is we really wanted to sort of push the envelope on technology, on solutions. It should be better. It should be like this, when you drive around and you see issues, or you work at a municipality in Namibia and they have a certain issue, you always want to do more. You always feel like you've got this, But hey, look, you can actually add this. The residents should be able to lock manholes missing or strip poles off. I'm talking about in the early 2000s. So you really want to push the envelope on technology because you think that solution should work. Yes, some of the stuff we also saw in Europe, but we really thought that should be better. And today we are definitely living that solution. And even today, it can be better. It constantly can be better.
Yeah.
We have a lot of challenges here in Africa, a lot of infrastructure to be upgraded and maintained, and there's a constant need to move the technology forward and to make this a better place. You can never be perfect. That is one of my. You remember when I was in school, I had a teacher that always said, "I can't give you 100% because you're not perfect," and that's really there is some truth in that. Is you can never you never complete, you never finish. There's not a finish line, and I think the same with success. Success is a journey. It's not an end line. I'm here today and you're successful. No, it's a continuous journey. And the same with technology. The same with what we're trying to do. It's constantly improving what needs to be make it better.
To just add to that, I think the answer is yes. It should be better. And the reason why we say that, how many times have you sit in your car or at home or even at the office and you sit there and you say, this should be better, you know? And that's what we strive to do. We really strive to listen to our clients, to understand what the problem is, and then make it better, you know? And even like Edward just mentioned now, it's a constant journey. Even if we made it better for that moment, it's already not good enough for tomorrow. So we strive to really continuous growing and make it better and make it better. And as soon as we develop something, we're already starting to work at the next version of making that better.
Yeah, I think you can use an analogy of the internet. I mean, when we started to work on with the internet for work purposes in the late 1990s, you had a dial-up modem, made a horrible sound, but at 10th attempt, you're on, and then it takes you another half an hour to send a small little file to another office in the same story on that side. And just see how the internet evolved, where we got fiber today. And I'm looking at myself, sometimes I'm so impatient because this file takes so long to download. It's already on 300, 400 megabits. Look where we came from. We were so patient to wait for a 20 kilobit file, 2 hours, but today we're impatient waiting for a 2 gig file for 30 seconds. So I think that's it. That explains the evolution of technology. I think people have said it before, as myself and Stanley, it is almost like a marriage. There's definitely a complement, and I think that is the secret to our relationship is the fact that there is a complement. We're not the same people. We're different people, but we've got a lot of equal vision, equal sort of drive in us, and energy. And I think the complement of those key factors and different tasks to complete the goal, I think that makes it a working relationship and a good relationship.
There's a weird synergy here. It's been going for many years, and we can't explain it. So we come from total different focus points, but our total vision for the company is very similar. Um, so Edward drives a lot the business side of the business, and then also the financial side of it. So he's got a very good eye for numbers. But not just the numbers, it's analyzing and seeing the gap for the company on the business growth. And that's something that is really good for me because I don't have to focus on it. Where I can focus on my core skill is to make things work, and that is not just technically, but very much strong on the technical side. So I have that sixth sense again to understand what will work very quickly with a client. I think it comes with experience. We are a little bit older now, and those two connections is bind by a glue of our communication. We over communicate. And that's something that we try and teach our people that work for us as well, is just to communicate and don't be scared to share because you will get back. Yeah.
Office by.
So there's actually quite a story around that. There's there's a solution that we work with a subcontractor, and we were employed as subcontractors for him. And then that evolved to be our client, and that is Rolfers Bay. But then there's a difference. When we started the company, let's talk about our first sale. Our first sale, many years back now, we realized that we didn't realize that we're going to develop all these software solutions, but we had to make some money. So we end up fighting for a IT dealership with one of the big IT wholesalers, and our first sale was a mouse. We fought for a week, and we end up, once we had our meeting with the financial director of the company and convincing him that we really need this thing, and he says, "Okay, damn it, guys, what do you want to do?" He said, "We want to buy a mouse."
No, that is very true. Yeah, and it's also very nice to have this first client, still our client today, also evolving with us, also having apps, and well, it's a municipality in Namibia, so it's a really nice growth path to walk a journey with these clients. Yeah.
We always talk about different projects. We always talk about something new that we've created, and we feel that's a good asset. But I think the biggest asset for myself and Edward, and he can add to that, is our incubation system. The way that we see talent, sometimes people come to apply for a position in our company, and in 5 minutes we can already place that person in a different role, because we can see the talent. And often these people can't see it themselves, or it's hidden, because maybe in some cases, I don't know, through history, somebody was maybe, I won't say forced in a way, but said that that can't be a career. In iGlobe, we like to pull those hidden gems out and bring it forward. So I think our biggest asset is our people, and the growth and the speed that the people are growing inside of the company, because we give them this bubble, this safe haven, that they can live out what they really want to do, and not just to see it as a job. So I think that's our biggest asset at this stage.
Yeah, I can add to that. Remember, they say that clever people gets more clever people to work for them, and that's exactly the case, because we've got such a unique set of skills and people, and each one of them is key. They bring a unique skill set, a unique thinking, and that, in a way, challenges me, Stanley, sometimes to think out of the box, to add to that value what we want to create. And we believe in those people, because they are definitely our biggest assets. Without them, iGlobe will not exist. The people are iGlobe. Yeah, so we were fortunate, obviously, with our neighbors, Namibia and Mozambique, to start venturing into those countries. We've been fairly successful in Namibia. It was actually where our first project started, in Namibia, down in 2002, and we still have that client today after 20 years. And so we've endeavored into Namibia and the sub-Saharan countries, fairly successful, done quite a few projects in sub-Saharan Africa, even into Mid and North Africa. And globally, we were also fortunate enough to have clients contact us during COVID. During COVID, there was a particular client in the US and North Carolina asking if we could assist. They need to sort of service and maintain solar farms, and they don't have no clue how to fly drones, where to start with the data. And we said, okay, this is COVID time, so we can't visit you, unfortunately, but there's a step guide. And we sort of online showed them how to go about to fly drones. They did that exercise on their own, and then we incorporated data and start building a solution from here. Very successful. And similarly, there was also quite a big Namibian partner which asked us to digitalize property in Namibia. And we, from the inception in COVID, both these clients are still with us, and there's obviously now more growth into the UAE in other countries. So yeah, not limited to South Africa, but that's obviously where our core are, but obviously global. That's really where we want to go.
Yes, look, we like to travel, and I think the reason for having these clients is we like to learn from our clients. We like to see their challenges, and then learn from them, make it better, and take whatever we've done there to pull it through to some of our other clients, because our solutions are very focused on it's a core, and we can very quickly adapt lessons that we've learned from mining industry into a cell phone company, or into an oil and gas company, and so on. So whatever we learn from somebody else, we can then just roll those fixes or upgrades to our existing clients, and vice versa again. So it is really easy for us to sell into other clients, because I always say we've got this big box of toys that we can play with, and we just keep on building more of these toys. And then once we're there, we can almost guarantee that we will walk out there and can help that client with whatever problem they have.
I really don't want to sound like a cliche, but the sky is the limit. Basically, we've got a part of means Stanley's chemistry when we started the first business. It was always bigger than ourselves. Our dream is always bigger than ourselves. So continue through COVID and continue where we are today, and having all of our employees continuing growth. We don't want to stop here. So we want to go global. There is a lot of services we did in the past, and a lot of short-term solutions that we are changing the business and making them long-term solutions, more subscription-based. We want clients for life. And by saying that is because the world is so globally connected, we really want to have this a global company, meaning in Africa, in other parts of the world, because the products we sell is needed globally, everywhere. And the products we are selling and continue to develop can be used in almost any industry and over the whole globe. So really, the sky is the limit for iGlobe.
I totally agree with Edward, but I like the words that Edward used, because that was always in my back of my mind when we started the company. I don't know why. Is big. We believe that iGlobe is big and it will always grow. So I won't say it's a goal. I think it's a journey, which just takes our clients to our whole broad line of applications and just use all of it, because it's all developed just to make your life easier, more accurate data at your fingertips. So again, like I said earlier, it is really nice to live in this age right now where you have a smart computer in your hand every day. So our solutions are also running on mobile. So it's actually very nice to just keep on working on what we are currently doing, and it will just feed down to your mobile phones, to your PCs, to your iPads, and even to your autonomous vehicles. It's all geospatial. So we are very connected on the geospatial world, feeding information, getting back information, analyzing that, doing predictions, that kind of stuff. So we just want to keep on growing with it. So yes, it's actually quite nice, because often a few years back, if somebody asked us what did we do, it was actually quite difficult to explain to them what we do, because nobody know what navigation was. With the smartphones, a lot of people use Google Maps, and that's a very simple way of explaining it. So we have a map that looks flat, but it's actually a round world that's sitting on your smartphone, and it does locate you through a GPS or cell phone triangulation to where your position is in basically 3 to 5 meters, and then with that you can navigate to one point, to a point A to a point B. So what we just do is we take that same concept, but we just take it to your site, much more accurate, centimeter, millimeter accuracy, where we can tell you where a stone is in relation to an accident or a volume of water, how it changed from last month to this month, or from yesterday to today. And we know exactly where it is because it's geospatially located. And then all of that information that we then record over time, we store that in a database, and we analyze that and use that to make predictions on when we have floods, which walls can break, when we have spillage, which townships might be affected, because it's all relevant to the geospatial map. And we can then, when it happens, also go and locate certain people, elements, assets.
Well, currently we do serve quite a lot of industries, from which mining is definitely the biggest, accompanied with oil and gas. Then obviously we service the utility market, the property market. But basically, like I've mentioned before, we can serve the whole industry, but agriculture, telecoms is markets we've touched on. We would like to also grow those markets. So it's really not restricted, but the core is definitely, like I mentioned, the mining, the oil and gas, utility sector, building sector, construction sector. It's also a big growing sector is the construction monitoring sector globally and here in South Africa. So we're really focusing on those growth areas and growth industries for iGlobe.